It's pretty amazing when you think about it. All around us, in our parks, our backyards, even right outside our windows, there's this whole other world going on. And it operates on a completely different clock than ours. It's the world of wild birds. And their lives? Well, their dramatic story that unfolds year after year, perfectly in sync with the seasons. So let's dive into this secret annual cycle, shall we? No, really, think about it for a second. We see them every single day, right? But how often do we actually stop and watch them? Really listen to what they're saying or wonder what on earth they're so busy doing.
Because here's the thing, none of it is random. Not at all. From the songs they sing to the color of their feathers, even their incredible journeys across the globe, it's all dictated by this powerful ancient calendar. So today, we're going to follow that calendar. We're going to uncover the amazing story of a single year in the life of a bird.
All right, so that story kicks off with a literal explosion of sound and activity. I'm talking about spring, of course. It is, hands down, the most vibrant, energetic, and frankly, chaotic season in the bird world. It's all about returning, renewing, and yeah, a whole lot of competition.
It's like the whole world just wakes up at once. Migratory birds are pouring back in from their winter getaways. The local birds, they kick into high gear. The air is just filled with song. And listen, that's not just for our benefit. This is serious business. Every one of those songs is a stay out of my yard or a hey, look at me. It's about claiming territory and finding a mate. And at the same time, everywhere you look, they're busy, gathering twigs, moss, grass, basically working on the most important construction project of their entire lives.
And this quote, it just perfectly captures the power of that sound. In Japan, the song of the uguisu, that's the Japanese bush warbler, it's iconic. This bird is super shy, so you almost never see it. But when you hear that beautiful, crystal clear call, that ho-ho-ke-kyo, you just know, there's no doubt in your mind, winter is over, spring is here.
Okay, so after all that springtime chaos, what happens next? Well, if spring was the big, flashy party, summer is, well, it's all about the hard work that comes after. The whole focus just shifts. It's not about courtship and singing anymore. Now it's about the tireless, incredibly demanding job of raising the next generation.
And this is the basic blueprint for pretty much every nesting bird. First, you've got to gather your materials, twigs, moss, even little bits of cotton. Then you weave this perfect, sturdy little home. After that, it's time to lay and incubate the eggs. And then the real work begins, feeding those hungry, hungry chicks. Take the Japanese white-eye, the Mijiro, for example. These tiny little green birds are just masters at this, creating these perfect little cup-shaped nests.
And I mean, it is tireless work. The parents basically become a non-stop food delivery service. All day long, back and forth, their mouths stuffed with insects and berries for those constantly screaming mouths in the nest. And their job isn't even done then. Pretty soon, they're on the ground, coaxing those same chicks to take their first terrifying, clumsy flight. It is just a beautiful, and I'm sure exhausting, display of pure dedication.
But what's really fascinating is that it's not just their behavior that changes, it's their whole look. It's like they have two completely different wardrobes. For many male birds, spring and summer mean it's time for their breeding plumage. We're talking vibrant, flashy, look-at-me colors, all designed to attract a mate. But once that's all over, they molt into a much duller, earth-toned outfit. So you've got one set of feathers for show and another one for survival. Pretty smart, right? All right, so as summer starts to fade, the energy of the year shifts yet again. We're moving into autumn. And this season is all about abundance and preparation. The young birds are finally grown up, the berries are ripe for the picking, and a brand new instinct starts to take over. This powerful urge to gather together. And this leads to one of nature's absolute greatest spectacles. Those young birds that made it through the summer, they join up with the adults, and together they form these massive, swirling flocks. I mean, they can get to just incredible sizes. There's safety in numbers, right? Moving together confuses predators, helps them find food, and it builds up strength for the tough winter months, or for that long, long migratory journey ahead.
And just to give you an idea of the scale we're talking about, look at this number. A single flock of starlings, which is called a murmuration, can have more than 10,000 birds. Seriously, just try to picture that. 10,000 individual birds, all moving as one single flowing organism across the sky. It's just a mind-blowing display of coordination.
And this quote just says it all. There's really no other way to describe it.
When you watch thousands of birds twisting and turning against a sunset, making these impossibly complex shapes, it's an experience that really does leave you speechless. It's one of those moments where nature just feels like pure, living art.
So we go from that magnificent chaos of autumn into the quiet, deep stillness of winter. The whole tone of the year just changes completely. The party is definitely over. For a lot of birds, the long journey is paused, and now the focus narrows down to one thing and one thing only: survival.
And let me tell you, life gets tough. Food is suddenly hard to find. It's buried under snow or just gone from the bare branches. So birds have to become expert foragers, trying to remember where they saw seeds and berries weeks ago. They have to conserve every single ounce of energy, and they huddle up together for warmth. But while a lot of our familiar birds have flown south, a whole new cast of characters shows up. We get winter migrants, like ducks all the way from Siberia, looking for lakes and coastlines that haven't frozen over.
But you know, there's a really unique kind of beauty to this season. That constant wall of sound from spring, it's gone. Instead, you get this deep silence in the woods that's broken by these single sharp calls that seem to travel for miles in the cold, crisp air. Every little sound becomes so much more distinct, so much more meaningful. It's a totally different and maybe more subtle way of experiencing their world.
So, when you put all 4 seasons together, this amazing picture starts to emerge, doesn't it? It's a cycle of arrival, of family, of gathering, and finally of endurance. And the most incredible part? This whole drama is playing out all around us, all the time, hiding in plain sight. And that, right there, is why this all matters. Because when you take just a moment to actually watch a bird, you're not just looking at a little animal. You're getting a peek into the deep, powerful rhythms of the natural world. You're witnessing their incredible resilience against all the odds. And that, well, it connects us to something so much bigger than our own to-do lists and daily routines.
Because in the end, paying attention to their world doesn't just teach you about birds. It makes our own lives richer. It adds this whole new layer of color and sound and meaning to the world that we walk through every single day. So here's my challenge to you. The next time you step outside, just pause for just a second. Close your eyes and just listen. You might hear the loud song of spring or a soft summer chirp, or maybe the lonely, clear call of a winter survivor. You never know. You might just hear the beginning of a whole new story. So, what might you discover?